forced from the modern era out of the Saphira castle. She helped cause the death of the ancient sun god at his request, led to the fall of the Antigonus family, and she is Klein Moretti's blesser and protector. Praise the mother of concealment. Praise the empress of misfortune and horror. Praise the lady of repose and silence. The Evernight goddess, the goddess of misfortune.
Aside from the Tarot Club, what was the strongest organization? That would be Rose Redemption. Their members once included the Evernight Goddess Amnesis, Dark Angel, Angel of Fate, War Angel, the God of Knowledge and Wisdom, Wisdom Angel, the Lord of Storms, Wind Angel, the Eternal Blazing Sun God, White Angel, the God of Combat, the Earth Mother, the God of Death, and the Chained God. That's 7 sequence 0 true gods and 4 kings of angels. This tremendous force was gathered to stop the primordial God Almighty from awakening within the ancient sun god. Doing so would prevent the destruction of the world that they occupied.
A figure walked out. A man. He wore a black clergyman robe and had a silver crucifix hung on his chest. His gaze over towards the area above the gray fog, casting it at Klein, who was seated at the fool's high-back chair. His deep voice sounded once again. Mysteries. Suddenly, without any forewarning, Klein's thoughts erupted with a boom. The boundless gray fog boiled as the ancient and majestic palace burned. The blazing flames condensed into a fiery blob, as though a blinding sun had risen out from this mysterious space. A howling hurricane flipped the long mottled table, snapping the thick stone columns and causing half the palace to collapse. Adam isn't necessarily Adam's.
Adam is the eldest son of the ancient sun god and one of the 8 kings of angels. He is known as the Angel of Imagination. The ancient sun god had Adam and Amen in order to get rid of his excessive beyonder characteristics. Both of them were born with the uniqueness of their pathway. Hermes had doubts about Adam's true identity. Hence, he disguised as Mr. Wrath and joined the psychology alchemists with the true agenda of using them to find the ancient mind dragon Arihal, from whom he learned that Adam may not be Adam. It was later revealed that Adam's true identity is the ancient sun god. Adam arrived in the forsaken land of the gods to confront the true creator so they could merge, and he could be whole again. Adam used Erodids to trigger the Chaos Sea. Then he used the second blasphemy slate to form a connection with the triggered area of the Chaos Sea. He then stepped forward into the Shadow Curtain to confront the true creator. During Klein's apotheosis ritual, it was revealed that Adam started to fuse with the true creator with Adam as the dominant persona.
After dodging Zarathul's fatal blow, Klein ran into the fog of history and fled towards the former metropolis from a time before the First Epoch. To him, this was a safe room that could be trusted. This was because only a scholar of yore, who was a human from before history, could enter. Without any hesitation, Klein habitually surveyed the area and began praying to the Evernight goddess in the stacked city. A faint sound rang out as an ancient wooden stake with traces of blood penetrated Klein's heart from behind. A figure phased into existence behind him. He was a cold-looking man, wearing a half-top hat and a black trench coat, Gehrman Sparrow. Klein's pupils dilated as the crazy adventurer said in a deep voice, "Adam has given me humanity." Upon seeing this, Klein turned his head to look at Adam and asked in puzzlement, "Why are you showing me these? Wouldn't it be safer to hypnotize me and put me to sleep until Amen becomes a god?" Adam's eyes were clear as he said, with a warm expression, "To be frank, if the other party wasn't Amen, then I'd be more willing to help you become the dominator of the spirit world. We have too many things in common. In a sense, we are old friends who have met before." With that said, he smiled and said, "We meet again, Mysteries." Abraham, also known as Mr. Door, was the ancestor of the Abraham family, who was banished to an isolated space of storms and darkness by the Evernight goddess and the Lord of Storms in the War of Four Emperors.
Bethel Abraham was corrupted by the mother goddess of the depravity and banished from the worlds. His identity was fractured, half corrupted, half sane, which was the source of his irrationality. During each blood moon, his cries were the clearest and the corruption was at its strongest. The Beyonders of the Abraham family would suffer immensely, writhing in pain and teetering on the brink of madness. His pleas for help came from his corrupted side, seeking to bring the mother goddess of the depravity into the world. The descent would begin.
At the door of flesh and blood, spherical lights collapsed and converged in an attempt to undergo a qualitative change. They seemed to form a body consisting of a series of doors. The body wore the blood-colored tidal wave as its robe as its body constantly warped and changed, reflecting different regions and planets. At this moment, a blinding ray of sunlight shone through the darkness. It descended from the astral world and melted everything it encountered along the way. Other than this ray of sunlight, an inscrutable darkness of the night surged over, attempting to devour Mr. Door Bethel Abraham. Mr. Door let out a low roar, causing his blood-colored robe to flare up. The blinding sunlight transformed into a young man wearing fiery armor. The shaking ground grew eyes and closed its mouth. The screen that was transformed from a faint light revealed terrifying facial features. Around the brass-colored eyes, eyelashes emerged, transforming into wings.
Won't this accumulate madness? Others will, Haman said with a smile, but not me. You didn't try to become a god in the fourth epoch because you didn't dial 008? It was one of the factors. More importantly, at that time, there were still many hidden dangers that had not been eliminated.
At the peak of a mountain in the forsaken land of the gods, visionary Adam emerged from a shadow on a huge cross. Adam, now a giant shadow, declared,
"Let there be light,"
instantly illuminating the astral world. He used the Chaos Sea and True Creator as a pillar, envisioning three uniquenesses, and seemed to exceed the limitations of above the sequences and became half a great old one, suppressing the eternal blazing sun, the Lord of Storms, and the God of knowledge and wisdom, trapping them in their divine kingdoms. Meanwhile, the dual sequence god Amon entered the astral world, expanding to a mountainous size as he tried to swallow Antigonus's palace, grafted there by the fool's authority, but was confronted by the Evernight goddess. Suddenly, the hidden sage's light broke through the barrier of plants, heading for Mr. Fool. As Mr. Fool put on the translucent mask of the fool's uniqueness, Amon's avatars attacked. In a final plan, Mr. Fool went from just accommodating the fool's uniqueness to advancing to the true fool. In the next second, the Evernight goddess's body expanded, enveloping the whole space, instantly erasing Amon's true body, avatars, Earth Mother, Primordial Demoness, God of Steam and Machinery, Hidden Sage, and Antigonus, as though they were erased by an eraser. Concealment. In the next second, Klein returned, his body splitting apart, merging with Mr. Fool. In an instant, a door of light traveled across the surface of the
At an extremely high speed, the door suddenly opened and Amon, who was wearing a pointed hat and wearing a classic black robe, leaped out. At the same time, he saw an illusory mask with blank facial features appear under the translucent, dark-colored cloak. The mask instantly outlined Klein, who had fused with Gehrman Sparrow's traits. Amon's thoughts turned chaotic as though he had his intelligence forcefully lowered. The fool was born.
Lord of Storms, Eternal Blazing Sun, and God of Knowledge and Wisdom, initially weakened and doubtful, shattered the light restricting them, and then returned to sealing the world barrier's cracks. Klein, now fully fused with Mr. Fool, sat at Saphira Castle, Mr. Fool's divine kingdom, at the Fool's seat, stabilizing his mind. Just then, his spiritual perception was triggered. The Fool Klein suddenly looked up and saw that the grayish-white fog had formed a door at the other end of the long, mottled table. A figure wearing a pointed hat, a classic black robe, and a monocle walked out. Aemon. There was a tinge of darkness in the dual god Mr. Error and Traveler's eyes as his smile appeared somewhat crazy. He leisurely looked around and nudged his monocle. He said with a crazed smile, "Are you pleasantly surprised?"
Does this mean that you value your life more than I imagined? You do like thrills and seek it for pleasure, but to do so regardless of the price is just an image you portray. How can a real god of deceit wager a bet with himself at stake? Of course, this is just my own guess. Perhaps it's wrong. Anyway, do you want to take the bet? Aemon stroked the crystal monocle and made a tisk like Medici. "You're really crazy," Klein replied with a smile. "In the eyes of others, this is indeed insane. To me, it's just a choice."
You will fight knowing that you cannot win? I don't understand. Are you fighting me for all of humanity?
He realized that his error authority had been forcefully suppressed. As Klein slowly got up, more slippery and sinister tentacles appeared around him. The smile on his face became more exaggerated. Right on the heels of that, Aemon's eyes glazed over and the smile on his face froze as the crystal monocle lost its luster. At the same time, the cold, bizarre mask on Klein's face squirmed, the blind stupidity effect. In the next second, he grafted himself to a certain concept in the cosmos, and he used his authority to influence the corresponding environment. The surrounding slippery tentacles aimed at Amon like revolvers. In Amon's eyes that were still glazed over, a supernova exploded. An unimaginable sea of scorching light surged out, shattering his monocle and drowning his body. Behind the endless curtain of darkness,
when a massive star runs out of fuel, the force of gravity causes it to collapse on itself and explode. The star's remains are fired across the galaxy at a speed of 40,000 kilometers per second. Entire galaxies are outshined by the death of one star, a supernova.
In a world where the boundaries between reality and myth blur, and where the secrets of the universe are whispered only in the shadowed corners of existence, there stands a figure known to only a few. A figure shrouded in enigma, a master of the unseen forces that govern the cosmos. He is known as the Lord of Mystery.